So in this short video, I'm going to demonstrate steps that you may need to complete this particular assignment. That means that I'm not going to be solving exactly the same problem in this video, but I'll be solving something very similar that you will find as super helpful to solve this particular problem. So if you look at the requirement, you need to work with a Sakila database. You're exporting first 100 records of first name and last name of customers, and then put together their name, concatenating their name as first name dot last name, and then add at customermail.com at the end of one, which is at the end of their concatenated version of their name, and then separate them with a semicolons. So basically, you'll be obtaining something very similar to this. All right. So instead of work with a customer data table, I'm gonna work with some other table. Okay. So, but again, you will find it very helpful. So I'm gonna use my Sakila database for this one. Let me see what tables I can use to demonstrate this. I remember we only had 2 staff, so using staff may not be that interesting. Maybe it's a good idea to use actor. So let me see what kind of columns are in the actor table. As you can see, there is a first and last name I can use, so that's good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to try to export this into a CSV and then retrieve the file from the Raspberry Pi to my computer, and now I start to process it in order to put together something like this. Okay, so let's get started. As you may recall, the proper way of exporting a data properly, by meaning where the data column the data column header included, right? So if you remember, the instruction is actually here in 2.4. So if you take a look at this, this is the format. Okay, this is the basic fundamental format. You need to do, yeah, since this can be a bit long, I'm just gonna do it from here, okay? So let me make sure that I have all the information I need. Select, and then you will start to type the column header information. So I'm just going to pull first and last name. I don't think last update is useful, so I'm just going to do actor ID, first and last name. I'm going to pull those 3 columns, right? So I'm just going to do actor ID, first name, last name. Okay, that's the first part. And then let's go here, take a look. The next one is union all, right? And then I do select. Since I'm only pulling 3 columns, I can specifically do this. Actor ID, first name, last name. As you can see, the difference is that this one doesn't have actually single quotation mark, because instead of considering this as a description, which is the name of the column, this is actually being used to identify a column. So this is not a text information, right? And then you do from credit card table, right? And then I believe you can add some other other conditions here. For example, this clause will help you only exporting first 100 records. Okay, so let's take a look how many records of actors are there. So to do that, you do select, I think select, I believe it's count asterisk from credit card. See if this work or no. Okay, so maybe it's just parenthesis with a star. Oops. Select As you may recall, yeah, I think I know where I got wrong. So if you remember, in my instruction set 3.4, the instruction is actually provided, right? So I think I may have used a wrong table name. Select count star. Yeah, this is not credit card table. What I was thinking, this is actually actor table. Alright, we got 200 records of actors here, so I'm not going to limit anything. I'm just going to pull everything. But remember, this particular problem is asking you to exporting only the first 100 records, so you need to limit it. But I'm not going to limit that. Okay, you need to do this. I'm not going to do this here. I'm just going to export it into alt file. Remember, we can only export it to TMP folder. I'm just going to say actors and then CSV. This time I want it to be separated. I want it to be a comma separated file. Fills terminated by comma. Yeah, I don't think I need this because this is by default added. If you're working with Notepad++ tool, there's a very handy feature where it allows you to highlight different components in a programming language. In this case, I'm specifying this as a SQL language, right? So as you can see that it looks a lot more easier. It's a lot more easier to read now. So let me double check whether the spelling is correct. Fills terminated by. Okay, looks like I got everything here. I'm just going to copy it and then paste it back to the MariaDB. So if you are in this step, before you actually execute it, double check. Okay, I can already spot an error here. Instead of credit card, I think I should use actor. Alright, and copy it. Make sure this is Aquila. Oops, let me do it one more time. See if I can do it here. Paste it. Okay, then so it looks like it executed successfully. So instead of using FileZilla, I'm going to be using the web server feature this time. If you already completed previous assignment, you must know how to get around with this using either FileZilla or web server approach. So I'm just going to get out from the Aquila, get out from the MariaDB. I'm just going to first go to TMP folder directory to see whether the actor file is actually there. So it looks like actors are already here. I'm just going to move it, sudo move to where? I'm just going to move it to, I'm just going to move actors CSV file to var html as actors CSV. So this is the root directory for your web server, right? Whatever you are entering, whatever files you are placing in this particular directory, you will be able to access it using your Chrome browser. So I believe it has moved. So let me double check by move to that directory. What I'm going to do is I'm going to visit the web server version of my Raspberry Pi. Right? If you remember this part, you completed this during your midterm exam. I'm going to specify actors CSV here, and you have downloaded the file that you have exported as if you are downloading something from the internet. Okay, so we got the file exported, we got the file transferred to your local computer, and now let's worry about the other requirements. I'm just going to open it. Okay, we see all the first and last name here, which is very good, And let me remind you what the requirement is. And first, concatenate their name as first name, last name, like this, right? So, and then we need to add @customermail.com. Okay, and then we need to separate them using semicolon instead of something else. So Yes, let's do it. First, how do you concatenate the first and last name? So there's a very convenient Excel function that we have learned in the previous exercise, which is concatenation, right? It's a concat. You do this, and you want to place a period in between first and last name. Then you do it like this, put together. So we got this concatenated version of first and last name. Okay, so double click to complete all of them. We got 200 actor names, or actor or actresses name. Do you recognize anybody here? Okay, well, although the requirement doesn't ask you this, but I mean, in general, email handlers, email address handler are actually lower letter case. So I mean, that's not the required part in your assignment, but it's something good to implement. So I'm just going to show you one more, which is the lower. Okay, lower as a function that can actually convert all the letters into lower letter case. Okay, so we have this, and then what we need to do is we need to add customermail.com at the end of each concatenated version of the name. So to do that, it's basically you do another concat, right? With this, and I'm gonna add customermail.com. Remember that we need to use the double quotation mark in order to indicate this is a text string that's being added to the customers, or I'm sorry, the actor's name. Also the @ sign. Okay, so this will complete it. This complete everything. The last requirement is actually to separate all these values using semicolon. Currently, all those values are separated in a sense that each one of those values are occupying its own cell. Okay, but you can actually paste it to your email client. Say you're trying to send a group email to all of them, right? Let me show you. So here's my email client, right? So whoever you want to send the email, I assume that you need to copy all their email address and then paste it here. Yeah, I don't see how that would work because it is not being recognized as a standard email address. List of email addresses. Okay, so to do that, we actually need to do what? We need to borrow the help of some advanced text editor. I opened a file and pasted. Let me do it again, okay? I have highlighted everything and I have pasted them into a list of email addresses. So as you may recall, we need to enable this. Okay, we need to toggle this thing on so that you can see all these paragraph mark. Again, you don't need to make those paragraph marks visible to proceed the next steps. But I am showing you that all those values are currently actually, all these texts are currently separated by a paragraph mark. Okay, I'm just gonna toggle it off. I'm gonna Control H, or you can click the replace. You can find where replace is. You can maybe search replace quickly and then it give you replace. Alright, I'm just gonna click the more part, enter special paragraph mark in the find what section. I'm going to say please replace them with semicolon and then replace them all. Then all 200 email addresses are now put together into text vector. So let's go to email client, and if you enter like this, they are now all being recognized as email address. If I click, that will become spamming, right? I'm not gonna click send, but that's how you put together from your database all the way to something look like this. Okay, it took about 15 minutes. I hope this is a productive session. I think this will help you get ready for this particular assignment. Thank you.